is Untapped with ME, and I am ME. On this podcast, I do my two favorite things: tell true and crazy stories about me and my life in Nacogdoches, Texas, and drink delicious, lovely beer. And so today, what are we drinking? Well, we are drinking something called Kush. I think that's how it's pronounced, Kush. It's another community beer. It is a double IPA. And yes, that does mean that it's strong. So let's try it and see what we think. Popping it open. Got it. And pouring. Hope you can hear that. Yep. Y'all, it's an 8 ABV. So I would imagine the strongest I've ever had is probably a 9. So it is strong but smooth. Let me try it. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. You know, you don't have to endure some gasoline taste here in order to enjoy this nice, strong beer. So the can says, beer for the greater good. Amen, brother. Get you some. Okay. Woohoo. Let's get started, y'all. Lost in the Night, part of our series called Murder and Crime in Nacogdoches, Texas. This is the story of Donald Ellis Davis. This is episode 3. So if you did not hear episode 1 and 2, y'all, you got to go back so that the rest of this story really makes sense. Okay. This is the story of a remarkable boy, forced as a young man to engage in a tormented battle with his own brain. He was an extraordinary athlete, beloved to his classmates, and an exceptional student, a graduate of the Air Force Academy, y'all. As someone said, he was a shining light to all. And now, he has murdered someone. In 1983, a jury finds Donald Davis incompetent to stand trial. That means he is unable to consult with his attorney and or he does not understand the proceedings against him. But, incredibly, they also note in their verdict that there is the probability that Donald Davis will attain competency to stand trial in the foreseeable future. Okay, so the Nacogdoches court sends Donald to Rusk State Hospital for treatment to see if the foreseeable future means he can indeed be tried for murder. Well, tragically, they try to burn the demons out of Donald Davis with electric shock therapy. He is a long way at that time from being competent. Every 90 days, Rusk sends the Nacogdoches court a report to state if Donald Davis is or is not able to stand trial. In January of 1985, Rusk State Hospital says that he is competent to stand trial, and a jury agrees. Donald Davis will now be tried for murder. Blake Smith is on that jury. He is only 19. He says that Judge Pierce tells the jury upon selection that if they feel they cannot serve, they should come forward. Blake does. He says, "Judge, I go to school full time at the college." And Judge Pierce leans down low from that high perch of a throne that they call the bench, and he growls in that low, slow, iconic timbre, "Son, you will learn more this week than in any other class this semester." And with that, Blake walks on back to the jury box. Bit Bomar is also on that jury, y'all. She is only 27. She is the oldest member of that jury. She is surprised that she is chosen. She went to high school with Donald. She remembers the great popular athlete so full of light. She can hardly believe that the overly medicated man in the courtroom before her is the same person. She remembers that, and she remembers the pain-stricken faces of Donald's parents behind him. The jury's verdict must be unanimous. Right when they get into the jury room to deliberate, they take a vote. They want to know where everyone stands initially. So almost all of them vote for guilty. They were a young jury, but a very conservative jury. So they review the evidence. Bitt and Blake say that those images of the evidence are seared in their minds forever. Photos of a bloody, swollen face. Photos of all that blood on the street. A bag of shredded clothes. Not just torn, y'all, but literally only shards of cloth remain. They think about the terror that went through the mind of Ricky Lee Wilburn that night. Some of the jury is beginning, though, to realize by looking at that evidence that no sane human could be capable of that level of damage. They vote, and they vote, and they vote. It is voting all day, and still no unanimous vote. At 5:25 p.m., the jury foreman sends a note to Judge Pierce, and it says, "The jury feels that we have heard and understood the evidence, but we have come to strongly opposing conclusions. We feel that we need further evidence to change or reinforce our opinions." Judge Pierce's typed response is very formal and very firm. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Mr. Jury Foreman, in response to your inquiry, please be advised that the law does not permit further evidence at this stage of the proceedings. You must continue your deliberations until you have reached your verdict." Basically, go back and get it done. You will be stuck with each other until you do. So, at 7:10 p.m., they have a verdict, y'all. It is not guilty by reason of insanity. For the man who had done something unforgivable, they show compassion. But few, if any, felt 100% sure about that verdict. To give anything less than guilty was a lot of responsibility. I mean, a man is dead. But if Donald is found to be insane, the jury imagines he will reside at Rusk State Hospital for the rest of his life. Therefore, he would be safe, and the people of Nacogdoches would be safe. But a surprise is coming, y'all. The required next step is an examination of Donald by doctors at Rusk State Hospital. They will assist the court in determining Donald's commitment. And here is a shocker, and it is a big one, y'all, so we're going to have a little bit here, 1 minute. The doctors at Rusk determine that Donald Davis is not insane. They say he takes his meds promptly, cooperates, speaks coherently, dresses well. His general demeanor is friendly. His psychosis is in remission, they say, and they recommend outpatient treatment. Yeah. Well, this is some crazy poo-poo, y'all. The jury did not entertain the thought of Donald Davis being set free. Well, Judge Pierce is having none of this. He orders a 2-year commitment to Rusk State Hospital to assess Donald Davis. And he orders that if any treatment facility in the future determines that Donald Ellis Davis be released, a hearing will be required to determine if that is a good idea. And Donald Davis will be required to appear in the Nacogdoches court for an annual commitment hearing indefinitely. And so he does, for years. Until that one time he lets out a loud, shrill laugh like a hyena. Well, after that, Judge Pierce waives the required presence at these hearings of Donald Ellis Davis. Ed Davis, Donald's dad, is abjectly disappointed that Donald is sent back to Rusk State Hospital. He pleads that the judge understand that they just dope him up like a zombie so that they can release him. The Shreveport VA hospital is where he belongs, begs Ed. They try to really help him with psychotherapy. That is talk therapy, where the psychiatrist and the patient together identify the need for behavior modifications. They talk about how to change behavior. That is a real chance for Donald to get well. But remember, the last time that Donald was in a VA hospital, he walked out. That was the night of the murder, y'all. So, to Rusk State Hospital, maximum security unit, goes Donald Davis. 3 years later, Donald Davis is selling used cars, y'all. Yep, it's crazy poo-poo, but it is true. What happened? In 1988, Rusk State Hospital and the Texas Department of Mental Health and Mental Retardation determined Donald Ellis Davis is not dangerous. It is the opinion of that latter body of mental health that makes it almost impossible to keep Donald institutionalized. Judge Pierce returns Donald to his family. And things are okay for a bit. Ed is orchestrating everything. He buys the used car business in Palestine, Texas. He gives Donald a job there. He drives Donald to the VA hospital every week. But the hardest part of managing mental illness is managing the meds, y'all. The voices in your head often tell you that you don't really need those meds. And that is what happens to Donald. He trades his lithium for cocaine. He starts chasing customers away. He threatens to kill his assistant. One day, he just starts walking down the hallway, barefoot. The police pick him up. Donald Ellis Davis is back on the mental hospital merry-go-round. In and out, here and there. Crazy poo-poo. Crazy sad poo-poo. Age would soften the sharp edges of Donald's psyche. Age and illness and good meds and the never faltering love of one Ed Davis. The doctors say that Donald's father, Ed, was instrumental to Donald's recovery. He never stopped being Donald's greatest champion. If Donald could have read all the many notes that were written to him, he would have known that regardless of where he was or what he had done, he was still loved by those who knew the true Donald Davis. He was always going to be a shining light to them. Let's read some of those notes, okay? He was a tortured soul due to his mental illness, but was brilliant and a great friend to many. Donnie, you helped me laugh and you helped me smile. Dandy Don, as we like to call him at USAFA, was liked by everyone and a genuine great guy. Dandy Don, he pitched for us. He was tenacious, and I was always excited when he took the mound. He made us laugh and was loved by all. Such a great athlete, an all-around great guy. He was liked by everyone. Okay, this one is meaningful for several reasons. Here it is. I knew Don in high school. I'll always remember how personable he was. But the thing that I will always remember most is how we met up again in the Air Force at Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita Falls one summer. I was swimming and taking in the sun at the base pool. As I was laying out in the sun, I could feel a shadow blocking my sun and suddenly heard a voice say, "Are you Nikki Palafox?" It was Don. So, you know who Nikki Palafox is? Okay, well, he is the brother of the murderer of our last podcast. Yeah. So here is the brother of a Nacogdoches murderer chatting with a future Nacogdoches murderer. Wow. This town is small, but y'all, the world is small. One more note, last one. This is from his sister's poem to him. May there never be another storm as you're rocked in heaven's cradle. May you never shed another tear. I'll wear your memory proudly, my only brother, my true friend. He would never read those notes, y'all, or that sweet poem. They were posted to his obituary memorial in 2020. He was 65. The long night was over. This one hurt to tell y'all. What would Daddy say to me if he were here? My daddy, Judge Jack Pierce, the one who often chose where Donald Davis would live and how he would live and what kind of help he would have. What would he say to me now in review of this man's difficult life? He would probably think about his own sick sister. That would be my Aunt Bebeth. We're just going to have a drink here for Aunt Bebeth. Because if any of y'all know her, yeah, then you're going to know what I'm talking about. Definitely a subject for another podcast. Daddy had to manage for her manic behavior for most of her life. It was a crushing responsibility. It broke his heart for his mother. So what would he say to me now? Well, he might look away as he often did and smile that pained smile and say, "Hun, life is like that sometimes. And we just have to make the best of it." That was a tough one. Yeah. But we needed to tell it. And we need to understand. We need to understand mental illness and the pain that some of the families of the murderers experienced. That one's real too. Well, next time on our bonus edition, an interview with Jerry Poole. He was there, y'all. So subscribe and follow now and tap into Untapped with ME.